Hey, so let's talk about the spring market 2026.
Yeah.
What's different or interesting about this market right now?
So spring 2026, what's going on in real estate? It's very interesting. We are still not seeing a huge uptick in inventory. We thought we were going to because we thought interest rates were really going to halt buyers and make them like really kind of sit more on the sidelines. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now, and it does have particular sectors of buyers kind of worried and not very confident. What's really suffering right now are properties that are geared toward single buyers, that are first-time buyers. Those folks feel the most vulnerable when it comes to what's going on in the world. Am I going to keep my job? Do I want to stay here in this location? Do I need to uproot and move from here to there so that my future looks a little bit better given the economic and the political and the world order circumstances, right? So that's kind of tough right now. It's really tough to sell a one-bedroom condo because that's exactly who that's geared toward. That's where you're finding inventory tick up. We also had an issue with water mitigation insurance in condos over the past couple of years, and that caused inventory to stack up.
And that's worked really out after the Florida condo collapse.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's getting worked out now. So single bedroom condos, sometimes smaller 2-bedroom condos are really stacking up and they're getting a little bit hard to sell. And they may be on the market for weeks, possibly even months.
Would you say that their prices have reduced?
I'd say that their prices have reduced, but out of 10 condos in one building, you may only find 1 or 2 with a price reduction. Because here's the thing. That person who bought that condo just bought it 3 years ago. And they've decided, my life has changed and I need to move. What they were counting on when they bought this thing during COVID, as prices were going crazy, they were hoping that their price increases would be at the same ratio these other kinds of properties were increasing. Not only that, those are the kinds of buyers who put very little money down. They did FHA loans at 3.5% down. They did 3%, 5% mortgages. I think the most money you'd find that anybody would have put down on those is about 10%. Well, when you're trying to put the exact same thing on the market 3 years later, and the price hasn't really increased at all, maybe just a little bit, your cost of sale when you sell something is always going to be anywhere from 7 to 10%. 6% is your realtor fees. You got to pay the buyer agent and the listing agent. 1% is that nickel and dime stuff that happens at closing anyway. And now we have 2 or 3% because all buyers are asking the seller to contribute toward their closing costs. You bought a condo for $300,000 and today it's worth $305,000. With a 10% cost of sale, that's climbing up to over $9,000. You don't have the money to sell. So they're going to price it at $315,000 at the very least, and they're just going to sit there. And that's what's happening in that sector of the market.
So what about single family homes? What's different about
single family homes? So if you bought a $300,000 single family home during COVID and kept it just the same and it's in decent condition, you kept everything together, you mowed the yard, you kept the debris off the roof, you cleaned your gutters out. In most areas of Atlanta, you could put that on the market today and it's probably worth about $350,000 to $360,000. Okay, even if you put very little money down, there is room to afford to be able to sell that house. You add a 10% cost of sale to that, you're actually walking away with a little bit of a profit. And the point there is they need to get up and they need to get on. They're not worried about a huge profit, they just need to go. Condo owners that are really cutting into a possible profit, they're not ready to accept the fact that they're going to have a loss in order to move on with their lives. So what's happening overall, especially last quarter and the quarter before in late 2025, nearly 50% of all listings in the metro Atlanta area are failing. I'm talking, they're just not going to sell and they're not even going to relist. They either get withdrawn from the system or they simply expire and they're gone. So when you have a house that's priced too high in this market, buyers aren't even going to look at it, much less make offers on it. Those are the ones that are failing. And the seller never reduces their price or anything. They sit there. And with no company at all. The next 25%, those listings are priced spot on. Like if the Zillow's estimate says this is what it's worth, or they have an appraisal, or an agent comes and does a comparable market analysis, and those are all the same number, seller says, great, that's what I'm gonna list the property for. You might get some showings, you might even get an offer or two, but the real activity is happening in the last 20 to 25%. Those are inspirationally priced. So if you see something that's really supposed to sell for about $525 and $535, buyers know, by the way, when they look online, they know what something is supposed to sell for.
Yeah.
They know what it's worth. They've already seen 3 or 4 or 5 houses exactly like that one sell. And now this one pops up and it has a price of $499 on it. What do you think's gonna happen? So everybody kind of bum rushes that house. The open house has a line out the door. They get multiple offers. I'm talking 7, 8, or 9 or 10 offers, not just 2 or 3. And the price goes right back up to where it should have been in the first place, $525, $535.
So do you think price is the only factor in determining if a house is going to sell or not?
No, I think it's price and condition. So remember the 4 P's of marketing when we were in college? Price, product, promotion, and place. I don't know if that there's really a hot product. I'd say there's hot areas of opportunity. How about that? Okay. So, and it's kind of weird. The West Side is experiencing a little bit of a lull right now because it was supposed to be hot. The Beltline was this big thing. And then what happened over the past 10 years, we didn't see secular investment over there. We don't have new Kroger or new Publix opening up. We don't have the mixed retail areas that are happening. We have Murphy's Crossing that was supposed to be this big, great thing, and the Beltline can't figure out what they want to do there. So it's just like, So you can get a great deal in the West Side now because the West Side is one of those places where first-time buyers bought. They're ready to move on now because their life is changing after 3 or 4 years. And they're just kind of sitting there thinking, I priced my house what I thought was aggressively and inspirationally, and I've dropped it a couple times. What's happening? So if you want a deal right now, go to the West Side, anywhere on the West Side, go out there and hang out and wait on these investments to go ahead and pull the trigger because they're ready. They are basically waiting on the economy to do some other things before they move on, and it's going to happen. So go to the West Side right now is what I say, and help these folks out and get in there and sit down and then wait for the things that are going to happen that they cannot wait on because they have to get out.
On the other side of the coin, what about desirable areas of Atlanta that have always had, high price houses? I'm thinking Ansley, I'm thinking Morningside. Would you say that those places are overpriced now for the same reason?
I don't know that they're overpriced so much. I think what's happening in a lot of our higher priced and luxury categories, Atlanta is still seen as an extremely affordable market where you can get an incredible property with incredible opportunities around world-class amenities. We've got the world's largest, busiest, and one of the most efficient airports. You can get anywhere at any time, any place. Even through this shutdown, you can get through there if you have to and go anywhere in the world, right? Try going 2 or 3 hours from here, going to an airport and then getting through that. You got to come back to Atlanta anyway, right? And then fly out where you're going. So you might as well go to Atlanta and start from there. Then you have so many things in Atlanta that we have in almost any other world-class city. Homes here should be going for $20 and $25 million, but we don't have waterfront, we don't have mountain views, we don't have these things that people can sit in a $20 million house and look at and say, haha, look at my kingdom out here, right? We don't have that in Atlanta. So these same houses go for $3, $4, maybe $5 million. You get way north of Atlanta, and that's when you start having a little spread, you've got more land, and then you might start climbing into the $5, $6, $7 million. You know the highest price home in Georgia just sold on Sea Island on the coast for $30 million? You go to South Florida, you can go down one canal and there's 10 houses that are $30 to $50 million each. You go to New York City, an entire building can have 100 units in there that are priced anywhere from $15 to $100 million. There's the entire half of Atlanta's real estate market could be in one skyrise in New York. So the reason I'm saying all of that is Atlanta is an extremely affordable city where you can get so much bang for your buck in higher end houses. So what's happening is our folks that are living in luxury stay in Atlanta, and when they move up, they're in high competition with each other for these lower priced homes. I put a listing up in Brookhaven several weeks ago. Historic home, needed everything done to it. Maybe somebody wants to save it, maybe it gets bulldozed and a big modern luxury gets put there. But we listed it for 1.5. We had multiple offers on it.
How many?
I think probably 7 or 8 offers. It sold for $1,850,000, and I don't even know if they're going to keep the house. I think that's just the dirt.
And that's $350,000 over ask.
Yeah, but here's the funny thing. We did a coming soon on this one. 3 days before it was listed live. And the point in doing coming soon is to A, test the market, and B, get agents and their buyers to schedule showings ahead of time for the moment that it goes live forward. It's kind of like a concert coming to town. Beyonce doesn't sell tickets at 8 o'clock on Friday night. She sells tickets weeks and weeks before, right?
Exactly.
Same thing with coming soon. The purpose of coming soon is so that people can see what's coming up and they can schedule showings. We had 42 showings scheduled on that property before it even went live. And so it was a madhouse from the moment we listed on a Thursday through a Sunday. I don't get that in Grant Park. I don't get that on the West Side. I don't even get that in Ansley Park. I got that in Brookhaven on this particular street. And every single agent who made offers told me how incredibly competitive the market was in that neighborhood. So yeah, we've got really interesting and very different things happening all over the city.